Some places keep their secrets. Some places shout their beauty and whisper their mysteries. Tonight we travel site by site to 10 corners of the earth where history, legend, geology, and human ambition collide. I've ranked these locations not by popularity, but by the depth of their unanswered questions. How they were built, why they were abandoned, or what inexplicable things still happen there. Prepare for ancient stones that refuse to tell their story, deserts carved with giant drawings, seas that claim vessels without explanation, and even a hole in the ground that burns like a furnace. This is a guided tour of the world's most compelling mysteries. Number by number, I'll walk you through what we know, what we don't, and why each place still pulls at our curiosity. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Göbekli Tepe sits on a low plateau in southeastern Turkey. Carved stone pillars arranged in circular enclosures date back some 12,000 years, to a time when humans were just learning to farm. Until its modern excavation, conventional timelines put large-scale ritual sites centuries later. But Göbekli Tepe rewrites that script. These are monumental, deliberate constructions by communities of hunter-gatherers. The columns are adorned with reliefs of animals, foxes, scorpions, birds, and abstract symbols whose meaning remains debated. Scholars ask, why build such a temple at a time of nascent settlement? Was it a pilgrimage center that accelerated social complexity? Or does it reflect sophisticated belief systems we have only glimpsed? The mystery matters because Göbekli Tepe forces us to reimagine the leap to complex societies. It's the first place on Earth to make us question the cause-effect of farming and religion. Its preservation underground, deliberate backfilling after centuries of use, adds another layer. Who buried it, and why? The Great Pyramid of Giza, Egypt. At the edge of Cairo, the Great Pyramid has hovered over human astonishment for nearly 4,600 years. Built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, it is also a machine of engineering that still spawns theories. How were blocks, some weighing multiple tons, cut, moved, and aligned with such precise orientation? Inside, narrow shafts, chambers, and counterbalances suggest an architectural plan beyond simple burial needs. Modern scanning technologies have revealed previously unknown voids and anomalies, echoes of chambers that may exist behind the masonry. Did the builders use simple machines and sheer labor, or is there a more ingenious technique lost to time? Pyramids are not alone in their aura. The pyramid's celestial alignments, mathematical proportions, and longevity elevate it from tomb to enigma. For the narrator, the pyramid's mystery is not a single unanswered question, but an accumulation of technical and symbolic puzzles that keep generations debating. Stonehenge, United Kingdom. On the wind-swept Salisbury Plain stand concentric rings of stones, their silhouettes dramatic against an English sky. Stonehenge's fame is matched by the opacity of its original purpose. Archaeology has shown it was a multi-stage project, moved and remodeled over a millennium. Human remains indicate funerary use. Alignments hint at solar and lunar observations. Sculpted bluestones came from far-off Wales, implying long-distance transport or pilgrimage. Yet the intentionality, ritual, calendar, healing center, or status symbol resists a single label. The stones themselves bear scars of prehistoric hands and later human interaction. Folklore wrapped them in magic long before scientists arrived. Stonehenge's appeal is anthropological. It's less about a missing fact and more about understanding why humans invested enormous effort in a landscape marker, an expression of community, belief, and cosmic registration that still speaks across millennia. Machu Picchu, Peru. Perched on a spine of Andes ridges, Machu Picchu is a mountain city shrouded in cloud and mystery. Built by the Inca in the 15th century, it blends sophisticated stonework with terraces, waterworks, and plazas. The Spanish conquest bypassed the site, and Machu Picchu was largely unknown to the outside world until 1911, which preserved its isolation. The unanswered questions include its original function, royal estate, religious center, or a combination. Its precise masonry, where stones fit like puzzle pieces without mortar, and the engineered drainage that survives intense mountain rains testify to advanced civil engineering. Why was Machu Picchu abandoned soon after the Spanish arrival? And how did the Incas choose such a dramatic, defensible location high above the Urubamba River? The site's preservation rewards exploration but resists full interpretation. Its plazas whisper of ceremonies we can only partially reconstruct. Rapa Nui, Easter Island, Chile. Easter Island's moai, monolithic human figures carved from volcanic tuff, stare inland from the ridgelines and beaches in mute procession. Created between roughly 1250 and 1500 CE, they embody labor, authority, and ritual. Yet, the island's story is twofold: the marvel of statue building and the cautionary tale of ecological collapse. How did a small Polynesian population quarry, sculpt, and transport these massive statues across rugged terrain? Multiple theories propose log-rolling techniques, sledges, or even walking the statues upright. The decline of the island's forests and subsequent societal changes raise another question. Did the demand for monuments and resources cause collapse, or was European contact the decisive factor? Rapa Nui holds both a cultural enigma and a stark ecological lesson, a living reminder of how human choices reshape a fragile environment. Nazca lines Peru. Carved onto the dry plateau of Peru's southern desert are lines and geoglyphs visible best from the air: a hummingbird, a spider, a whale, and long, straight lines stretching for kilometers. Created by the Nazca culture between 500 BCE and 500 CE, the methods are straightforward, clearing darker gravel to reveal lighter earth beneath. But the reason remains contested. Were the geoglyphs astronomical markers, ritual pathways, or messages to deities viewed from the sky? Some argue they map water sources or pilgrimage routes. Others suggest ceremonial processional strips. The scale and durability, protected by the desert's climate, are extraordinary. Nazca forces us to think in three dimensions. Their full intent may have assumed ritual observers on ridgelines or cosmological beings above, a human attempt to converse with the heavens. Bermuda Triangle, North Atlantic. Stretching roughly between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, the Bermuda Triangle has earned a place in popular imagination thanks to aircraft and ship disappearances reported over decades. Scientific reviews show many incidents have prosaic explanations: storms, human error, equipment failure, and statistical analysis suggests the region's disappearance rate is not significantly higher than similar busy shipping lanes. Yet a cultural mystery remains. Why do stories persist? Compelling narrative, conspiracy, and the high stakes of lost vessels fuel speculation about methane hydrate eruptions, magnetic anomalies affecting navigation, and even supernatural causes. The Bermuda Triangle is a modern myth machine. The place itself is less inexplicable than the stories we tell about it.
Oak Island's Money Pit, Nova Scotia, Canada. Oak Island's Money Pit has seduced treasure hunters for 2 centuries. Rumored to harbor pirates' hoards, Templar artifacts, or Shakespearean documents, the site conceals wooden platforms, layers of dumped material, and flooded shafts that thwart attempts to reach deeper levels. Excavations have retrieved tantalizing artifacts, old coins, a mysterious stone inscribed with symbols, and wooden timbers, but also produced repeated setbacks, booby-trapped flooding tunnels, and collapsed shafts. Is Oak Island an elaborate hoax, a natural sink with human debris, or a genuine, ingeniously trapped repository? The Money Pit's appeal rests in its mix of perseverance, speculation, and the human hunger for secret treasure, a centuries-long puzzle of engineering, lore, and obsession.
Darvaza Gas Crater, the door to hell, Turkmenistan. In the Karakum Desert, a collapsing gas field set alight in 1971 and has burned almost continuously since, a glowing pit locals call the door to hell. Soviet-era geologists intentionally ignited a methane pocket to prevent the spread of poisonous gas. The result was a flaming crater that became a surreal landmark. The mystery is less how than why it endures. The crater's longevity, changing shape, and the eerie otherworldly glow have drawn explorers and ecotourists. It raises practical questions about resource extraction, geological unpredictability, and the ethics of altering landscapes. For visual storytelling, Darvaza is cinematic. Heat shimmer, drifting gas plumes, and a ring of caravans under a star-lit desert sky. A modern, human-created mystery. Yonaguni Monument, Japan, underwater. Off the southern tip of Japan lies a submerged stone formation. Terraces, steps, and right-angled faces that some interpret as the remains of an ancient city, perhaps inundated by rising seas after the last ice age. Found by divers in the 1980s near Yonaguni, the monument's sharp edges and block-like shapes suggest human workmanship to some. To others, it's the result of natural fracturing of sandstone under tectonic stress. If man-made, the implications are profound. It would be one of the oldest known coastal constructions in East Asia, reshaping our ideas about prehistoric coastal habitation and sea level events. If natural, it remains an excellent example of how humans see pattern and purpose in stone. Either way, Yonaguni sits at the intersection of geology and archaeology, an underwater puzzle that invites careful underwater mapping and open debate. As we leave these 10 places, 2 truths remain. First, mystery is often the byproduct of deep human achievement, monuments and feats that outlast memory. Second, investigation requires humility. New methods, fresh evidence, and patient excavation have already solved some puzzles and will solve more. But mysteries are useful. They pull us back toward inquiry. Whether Göbekli Tepe or the door to hell, each site reminds us that the past and the earth are still speaking, if we pay attention. Thanks for joining this guided tour of 10 places that refuse to be fully explained. Subscribe, dive into the sources in the description, and tell us, which place would you visit first?